Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory Podcast. Each week we sit down and discuss our favorite lore topics from within the Destiny universe. Specifically, we intend to take a close look at a specific question that has been nagging us and potentially the Destiny community as a whole. To fulfill that, our discussions tend to assume that you already have some background in the Destiny lore. Despite that, our goal is to be as lighthearted and welcoming to everyone as possible. With that out of the way, let's dive into this week's topic.
Yeah.
All right.
Now recording.
Excellent. We are all now recording. Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory Podcast. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, groovy.
Remember, you are Clovis Bray.
I always now that Elsie Bray sounds in at least like in the English version sounds super duper British. Like before, like I feel like there was a hint, but the actress I thought she sounded like she did on The Walking Dead. Sort of like you can hear it if you really listen for it, but like if not, it's just like okay, like you're not. I don't think you're. So that's just my opinion on it. Other people have been like, oh, I thought she sounded like okay, like maybe you did. All right, I'm not acting, you know.
Here in Brazil, the voice actress that did the Exo Stranger on D1, she's dead.
Oh no.
She died. She died last year. She had a I don't know how to say that. She was found unconscious at her house, but when they took her to the hospital, she died.
I gotcha.
So
yeah, that's sad to hear.
It was very sad. Yeah, she was also the voice of Ciri in The Witcher here in Brazil, and unfortunately, she died. She was so young, 33 years.
Oh wow! Yeah, that hits home. That's
right.
My age, a little younger than me. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I'll start the show with a big rest in peace shout out. I had no idea, but that's a great loss. Like
yeah.
When someone you're so familiar with, you end up spending so many hours with, even through their work. And you're a fan of, especially so tragically, like oh man. And my heart goes out to Brazilian fans who probably feel this more than I ever will. So, I guess in Portuguese fans, well, I don't know if they do a different recording between you guys and Portugal, do they, or is it the same?
I believe it's the same. It's the same actors.
Okay.
It's not that much different. Brazilian Portuguese from Portugal Portuguese. It's some words, some manners, but basically we can understand each other very well.
Okay, that's good to know. That makes me. That's what I figured, but I didn't want to like act like on assumptions. I wanted to be.
Oh no, don't worry.
All right. Well, everyone, that was a fun little tidbit. Yeah, hearts go out. But welcome to the Spinfoil Theory Podcast with your host Taylor B and TheBagelz, with our very special friend, special guest all the way from Brazil, Edson, TheVanguard Brazil.
Oh my god. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Welcome. We're very, very, very honored to have you on the show. As you may have heard, since I botched the earlier recording,
the honor is mine.
Yeah, he's got us so set up for success now. You guys, we have Craig.
Indeed.
And we're not going to give any explanation as to what that is. You're just going to be like, I don't know, man. They've got Craig. They're very pleased with Craig and the work that Craig does. So
it's a secret to everyone.
Secret Craig. I want to get us started here. The theory chosen by our guest this week is very near and dear to my heart. It's on the basis that the hero and guardian Praedyth, and he's at least my hero because he sent us gear. I enjoy a guy who finds himself trapped in the conflicts of time and just decides, you know what? I'm just building guns and armor. Someone's gonna shoot you with it. Just you wait.
I know, right?
And it makes me super happy that you selected this path. And it's kind of like as we mentioned earlier, it's sort of like Praedyth is technically trapped in this sort of Schrodinger's box situation, where that he is in this constant loop of like living out his life till he dies, trapped inside the Vex Network, and then starting over. So he's trapped in this like infinite time loop. And the reason we think this goes back to the cards or actually his ghost shells when we go back into the Vault of Glass in the first Destiny game. We go back in there and we find his body. Well, what we believe is his body. We have no reason to not think it's his body. It's right next to one of the ghost shells, and it's wearing his warlock garb. Well, it's presumably warlock garb. It could just be someone else who enjoys a nice robe. If we're going to be super technical about it, but yeah, we find a number of ghosts, and the idea is all these ghosts are Praedyth's ghost shell. Like he recorded these messages that have different potential futures in them, and like they're verified through Ikora. They're like that is his shell, that is his recording, and it's in a way I think it kind of brought potentially undid some of what the Vault of Glass did to him in his erasure. Like, you know how he's like in like the margins of things now, like erased from many records, but like you might see like he commented on something or like something weird. Like this guy who doesn't exist, like did something here. But anyway, and it relies on that because then when we move forward into D2, we have the book Aspect, which has the Ishtar collective simulations, or what's left of them, find Praedyth in one of these loops that he's trapped in, and they work together to send the ghost shells and the armor back to us. And so they send it back in time. So like that was happening concurrent with the events in D2, like while we were having it, like while they're inside the Vault of Glass. So it's like a really cool, like almost like Benjamin Button, like reverse interaction thing going on. Like because their future is going to continue to interact with our past. Like, yeah, it'll be cool. But yeah, that's the basis of it, is that as long as he's in the Vault of Glass, he is both alive and dead. Like multiple times over, at least the dead part, multiple times over.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Bagelz and the guest here. So please, guys, let me know what you think.
So, couple quick thoughts. First off, it's the lore book aspect is just cool in general, just on the basis that you've got Praedyth, who
Bamf.
Yeah, he's pretty legendary, at least amongst the lore community.
Most likable warlock.
Yeah, and so just having that interaction between him and the multiple copies of the Ishtar collective team that are floating around in the Vex network, just those interactions are pretty awesome, and just how Praedyth is sending messages to them. Essentially on a like handcrafted radio that he's able to punch through into their sections of the Vex network, and eventually he gets to know the Ishtar collective teams pretty well, and it actually can distinguish them just due to the time spent that he has with those various teams. And so what it seems to me like is we have got a singular Praedyth in the book aspect that we encounter throughout, and then you've got the multiple teams for the Ishtar collective that he is basically having conversations with, and then conversely to that, when in D1 when we go into the Vault of Glass, and I think it's in after post Taken King, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
it's a side mission called Paradox.
Yeah, yeah, and so we go in there and we find various copies of Praedyth's ghosts, and like Taylor pointed out, they are legitimate copies of Praedyth's ghosts. So at some point he sent out his ghost and recorded these messages of possible futures, and so that we would have warnings about those possible events.
I read it. I was actually thinking of it a little differently. Like, he lives out his life, and then he leaves this recording right before he dies each time. So he's not sending out his ghost. It's that, like, that's what he does with, like, the last bit of his life.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. So, yeah, we can run with that. But eventually, once you get far enough into the vault, we get back to the. I think that enclosure is like the vault within the vault. I don't know if it has a technical term or not, but it's just like an enclosed, locked off door that when you first encounter it, there's a chest in there in the Vault of Glass raid. But when we later encounter Praedyth in that mission, we find him dead in there, and basically, so the crux here is that we've got essentially two overlapping Praedyths that we can directly know of via the lore. And so what I would make an argument for is that, as we know the Vault of Glass as the confluence of time, confluence in the common terminology in real life is a collection of rivers coming together, at the minimum of two rivers. Those two rivers then, or multiple rivers, as I suspect the Vault of Glass is, basically combine together and make a confluence. And the confluence of time, I have to imagine, basically is the merging of multiple streams of time in a single location. So instead of basically having timelines that are distinct and separate from one another, they basically almost collide with one another or overlap very closely with one another. And so what we've got here is we can encounter Praedyth in our singular timeline, because we basically cannot see outside of our own time stream. The Vex can, but we cannot. And then we've got Praedyth, who's alive and well. Well, I don't know about well, but in his own timeline, communicating with the Ishtar Collective, and basically in his own distinct timeline. But since they're very close together, he was able to send out messages that made it out to the timeline that we experience. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process.
Yeah, Sir Edson, what made this stick out to you? Like, what are your thoughts on the theory here?
I really can't agree with the way of thinking about the vault being. It's a really interesting idea. We saw that we were when we faced Atheon. He sent us to the past of Venus, to the future of Venus. I believe that the Praedyth of our time is dead. The corpse, that skeleton, probably. But the Praedyth that is with Ishtar Collective, it's another time. We saw that earlier this week with this exo-stranger. She said that another time. I'm not spoiling anything. We are 4 days from after the lamp. For God's sake.
And it's not like they didn't have to listen to this before they finished playing. This is going to be. This will be there. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I hope so. So, I think that pretty much sums what is happening. He's really alive, but not at the same timeline. He experienced it. I can agree with that. At each of each ghost we found at the vault could be a initial place of his one of his deaths. I believe that he has no. I don't know. I wanna know from you guys. Do you believe that he still have a ghost? So
Yes, I because if I'm understanding correctly, that's part of I believe that's part of aspect is he's talking about how his he refers to his ghost. I don't believe it's dead yet in that timeline, if I recall correctly. But it's waning, right?
I need to read the book
He's
again.
like he's worried, if I recall correctly, he's worried at the beginning of aspect that he doesn't think his ghost could res him. Is where I think he was at. I don't know that his ghost was gone yet, though, because I think the ghost was also his primary means of communication.
Okay, and Deontic, the part of the aspect.
I'm gonna feel so dumb if I'm completely wrong.
Let me see.
I'm just reading through here. Okay, he has 3 guns, 2 disassembled down to their casings for parts, 2 boxes of physical ammo, and 1 of Amalon energy cells he's been using to power his radio. He stripped his armor down long ago, he made a comm unit from his helmet, and pulled fine coils of wire from the conductive pads on his gauntlets, and steel plating from his boots. In his pockets, he's got lint and the wrapper from a candy pahinine tossed at his head half an hour before they entered the vault. It's worn soft and folded into the shape of a crane. No ghost. Her loss is one thing he has never gotten used to after all this time in the vault. He still wakes up some days expecting the small weight of her on his shoulder. So
I'm completely off and conflating with something else then.
I
have to edit that out so I look like less of an idiot.
It's the ghost of Asher. He believed that his ghost could.
Oh, the other guy trapped in the Vex Network. At least I don't feel so dumb now.
Yeah.
I don't feel as dumb, but I'm gonna leave it in then because my pride can take this much. But
we're drawing a fine line there.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
I'm gonna be very hard on myself. I should. But okay. Now that we have the right of it, sorry about that, guys. Now that we have the right of it, well, this is an interesting thing. Now, across timelines, at least Vex timelines, he's still in the Vex network. He's just left the timeline he was in. As far as we know, he may have exited it, depending on what's on the other side of that portal that he goes through. But I guess that we know this Praedyth's ghost is gone, but we also know that not every Praedyth loses their ghost, because otherwise, like at very least, Bagelz, I think the ghost that was next to the body that we find in the Vault of Glass, we could say like that was probably recorded before it, like right before Praedyth died, right? Like at least like that one, I feel like is like a safe bet.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So not every Praedyth loses his ghost. And not every Praedyth has a lost or dead ghost. So what if not every ghost is dead, but it might not have a Praedyth? What if he gets paired up with another one?
That's interesting. It's theoretically possible. We've never obviously encountered a Guardian losing their ghost and then getting a ghost from a timeline.
Right?
It depends on how ghost interactions work exactly. If the intrinsic tie between the Guardian and their ghost is so tight that that's impossible, I could see that going that way. It's also entirely possible that because essentially it's the same Guardian and Ghost, they could immediately just hook up again. We really don't have enough information to go off of there. The only other situation I can think of that even kind of comes close is like Saint 14, but he didn't lose the ghost in the forest, Infinite Forest, when we encountered him there and saved him from the mind. So,
well, we stopped it. We stopped him
Yeah.
from merging it. We essentially
Yeah, but
rescued his.
if
yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
we
please.
found in another mission, and then after that we saved him, but he still have his ghost. There is the most recent lore released by Bungie.
Well, I think
Website. It's Imolant.
Oh yeah,
Part one.
Imolant,
On this lore, Sagira talks about Geppetto is the ghost of Saint 14. So his ghost is still alive, but
I don't know how I feel about his ghost being called
To
Geppetto.
rescue him, we found Geppetto's ghost shell. So I don't know if it was an alternate time or if Geppetto was in a state similar to Sagira, the beginning of the Curse of Osiris. Needs some fixing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Geppetto is really. I kind of think of it differently. Essentially, when we involve time travel on Mercury and the sundial, I personally kind of throw that into an entirely different category, just on the basis that I'm thinking that it's an Ahamkara heart in the center of the sundial. It's up for debate still, obviously.
Well, and the mode of time travel is completely different, right?
Yeah.
So like what's going on in the sundial, I think we'd all agree is kind of like the H.G. Wells time machine. Like you stay in one spot and time moves around you, as opposed to like a Vex gate where you move between times.
Yes.
Yeah. If you look at if you remember the effect, the sundial. You stand still, and the environment around you that changed.
Mm-hmm.
Not you. Yeah, that's a nice cat.
Thanks.
I never thought about this. Oh my god.
So it's like it's two different methods of achieving like a similar thing.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's really interesting. So I feel like, with the Vexgate nature, if we found, because we've also inside the Vex Network seen Saint's grave, right? So if we're saying that like Saint was probably in a similar situation until we welcomed him back out of the Vex Network. He was both like alive and dead until we opened the Vex Network and looked.
And I think we're still looking at somewhat of a timeline differentiation there. Since we're talking about Ahamkara, when we're talking about the sundial, I'm going to take that for granted for the sake of this argument. Then the way I've always interpreted Ahamkara wishes working is that they essentially mash timelines together. So you've got it's kind of like the Vault of Glass in that you've got multiple time streams coming together in the same place, but instead of like multiple or like a series of timelines, it's just two that are being mashed together in the case of Ahamkara. So what I've always imagined is that essentially we inserted ourselves into or one way or the other. We either inserted ourselves into the time stream that Saint was in back then, or or the Saint's timeline was inserted into ours. However that works out exactly, but it's time travel, so it gets a little bit wonky to try and figure out mentally and put gymnastics together. But it's still a little bit different. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it does. It's different. It's different components at play, but I think just the fact that his shotgun is the one that we find from his grave is, I mean, now some might say that's not like a canonical gun anymore, but it's in our collections. The collections are like a canon thing, I believe, that we have. Whether or not we use all the guns in there, like I believe that is like a thing in universe that like exists for Guardians, especially with programmable matter and,
Right.
and all the different things that go along with that. So, and to be fair, that is its own entry. So if like just to say that, like, going back to the being trapped in a loop. Now, obviously, you can read that a million different ways. Like that's a different like timeline of Saint 14 that we found, or the one that we rescued is a different timeline. But I think in those instances we actually stayed within it when we time traveled, not Saint necessarily, but when we time traveled, I think we stayed within a single contiguous timeline, just because as you pointed out, as you guys have both like sort of like commented on the idea that like we're staying in the same spot and then time moves around you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that method of time travel, you're staying in the same timeline. Like at least like pretty like with a lot more certainty than the Vex Network, at least.
Right.
And I would say that where the comparison would really fit is while Saint is trapped in the Vex Network. It just like we successfully opened the box in that case. We just haven't done it for Praedyth yet.
Sure.
That would suck if we opened it and it was on a dead roll.
Yeah, but in the case of Saint 14, I think it's a little bit different because he wasn't exactly trapped in the Vex Network. He died when he was confronted with the Marty mine, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right.
And Praedyth, he was erased. I believe he was erased when they entered the vault. We all know the story. Kabir, Pahanin, and Praedyth, and Saint was gone to Mercury to find Osiris, but he ended dying in the Infinite Forest, in an instance of the Infinite Forest. Not exactly a Vex vault or a Vex prison like the one Praedyth is in, but I understand that it could be similar to that. In Praedyth's case, he has no ghost. At least this Praedyth from Aspect Lore book, that could be another million of Praedyth in the Vex Network, but this one has no ghost. But a Guardian with no ghost can get another ghost. We have a precedent with that.
Sure.
Where?
We have to do a little bit of stretch here, but let's go.
with do you mean with Shin?
It's Shane Malfer.
Shin Malfer. So we've done an episode about that, and I came to the conclusion that I think they're just hanging out because I believe that Shin's ghost was Tianchi from Ghost Stories. And so his ghost is dead. He was a guardian, and he's a guardian who's never died, hanging out with another dead guardian's ghost. But I don't think that ghost can raise Shin. I think they just like are friends and talk to each other. Maybe he opens doors for him. I think he could still get that.
Definitely. I don't know. I think we need to kill Shin to prove that. Let's hey Shin, come over here. Hey Shin, come over here. We need to test something. It's gonna be quick or not.
Oh my! What I love about this is just the conversation when he stays dead, and then the ghost comes up, Jared's ghost, and he's just like, "Why would you? I'm not even his ghost."
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? I've never even healed him. Have you spent any time with Shin?
Well, serious now. I used to think that Shin could be resurrected by Jaren's ghost because he still can use the light. And a guardian without a ghost.
I wonder because we have some other instances, I think, in the lore of guardians without ghosts still using the light.
Eris have no ghost.
Eris has no ghost, but she also uses the darkness.
Yeah.
She uses like hive magic, like that. She's her own thing.
Yeah, I think we should exclude Eris from any conversations about guardians without light because she. Yeah, her wish is kind of throws a whole monkey wrench into her situation.
Well, I think Shin talks about him having one life in Man with No Name, or one of those recent lore books that feature him. When they kind of closed out the Dwindler's Ridge Dredgen plot. Mm-hmm. I think he talks about that he's got like that one life to burn out. And it's also really interesting because even if he can die, he's proof that guardians can age, or at least grow up. So maybe they don't like decay, but they do grow, which is like a super cool like thing. I also think there's like, I think Saladin is shown to age, but like that's my opinion. I've had people I think successfully bring up counterpoints to that because that's just based on like how I think things look in the cutscenes. So that's a little more, I think an argument to be made there. But
I do agree. I just pulled up A Man with No Name, and in there it does address the man nodded at Judson, addressing his ghost. Do you see how he never gives up? Because he knows this one life is all he has, no fear. So that's the direct reference to it. I would tend to agree. That's from Home Part 4. Is
Man with No Name.
Man with No Name. Yep.
Okay.
So I tend to agree that it's probably not Shin's ghost, and therefore he probably can't be resurrected. So.
And if you look at the beginning of Dwindler's Ridge, and the amount of people who could potentially be his father in the Tianchi ghost stories, it matches up perfectly. Like he has the exact number of fathers if you go into Jaren Ward.
Sure.
Between those two stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, no ghost for Praedyth. It down.
Well, but this is what's
no, sir.
But this is what's different, right? This is what's different. Like, is it? Yeah. Can be different because the ghost that is with Shin now was from Jaren, but we haven't talked about a ghost with no guardian. Well, I was actually thinking about if he ran into his ghost from another timeline that wasn't dead yet. But say like he was dead in that timeline. So they're just mismatched, but it's the same ghost, same guardian, just different timelines came together. Would that ghost be able to res him, do you think?
And maybe.
Oh yeah. My God.
Right?
I wish to say yes, but
they can at least be.
I'm gonna say yes. Like... I'm gonna say yes. Yes. It can because technically it's the same guardian. I don't think that each Praedyth from each timeline has a different signature, a different light signature, so to speak.
Exactly. That's exactly because
I'm going that way. I'm going to that way. I think it's possible, but if there is no ghost for Praedyth, we can still use the darkness.
Yes.
Give him some stasis, some that little pet that the Exo Stranger had one. I don't know what the hell is that flying over her shoulder. And
oh yeah, the
hey,
thing that
hey,
looks like
Praedyth, come here. Hey, Exo Stranger, give me one of that pet you have
I will
to this old man here.
I would like a robot stingray, please. Yes, the more cuddlefish looking, the better. Yeah, no, that thing was creepy, and you never saw it again. And it was hanging out with the stranger, the drifter. So like the stranger, the drifter, and Eris all are aware of whatever the hell that was. And no one has said anything about where it went, what it's doing, who it belongs to.
What happens in Europa stays in Europa.
Everything is legal in Europa. I'm giving a shout out to Orchid on this joke because it's the New Jersey of Destiny's Hamilton. Everything is legal on Europa.
So, I think that this is one of the ways that Praedyth can still persist with a ghost from another timeline, or using the darkness, or I don't know, maybe becoming an exo. No, that's a bad idea. And
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I really think that we're going to see him at Destiny at some point.
I fully
think
agree.
that it's not for what? How can I say that? Vault of Glass is coming back.
Yeah.
To me, this lit up a sign, as a signal, the size of Europa, and I think that the Vault of Glass will play a major role in the future lore of Praedyth.
And to even build upon that, the No Time to Explain exotic pulse rifle is intrinsically tied to Praedyth as well. If you work on the catalyst for the weapon, one of the steps is called Soon. And from the D1 lore, what's carved into the side of No Time to Explain is Soon. So all of this is making me believe that Praedyth is coming back in the very near future. Like we've got the vault, we've got the stranger's rifle. It just everything is seemingly to point exactly towards Praedyth right now. It's like a lensing effect directly in his direction.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was just gonna say, like, I can't wait to see what they run with that, because right now, depending on how that expresses itself, if we're going back to Venus, there's a multiplicity of things we could be running into there. We might run into the House of Light doing stuff. We might run into just the different factions of Vex now fighting because we went and messed in the Garden of Sorrows. Like there's just like that whole landscape is going to be different, and I'm super duper here for it. But I also really like the idea of Praedyth coming out and immediately like, yeah, no, hang out with Mithrax now. He's my buddy. We're gonna go just get into adventures, maybe do a web comic. You guys have fun. We're just gonna go. Yeah, no, you do your thing. We're gonna. I can't even anymore. I was in there for so long. I'm just gonna go.
I'm personally of the opinion that the vault isn't going to be on Venus. I think it's either going to be on Nessus or Europa, depending on how everything else plays out. They both can make sense because the Vex are present on Nessus already, and Nessus didn't get vaulted, obviously, so that's sticking around for some reason. But it makes thematical sense that it's on either planet as well, because the Vex are clearly agitated by something on Europa.
The Vex are agita. Like,
I have to imagine that they're going to pop through somewhere with the vault and try and basically... I think they're going to try and correct for what we're probably recorrecting on your right now. That's why the stranger is reinvesting into our line, because something went awry, as she previously indicated, after the Season of the Undying, where basically something went awry in our timeline and now darkness is in our future. So we're trying to redirect our timeline away from essentially pure darkness. So yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, maybe we gonna access the Vault of Glass through Europa too. We have a Vex portal there.
Absolutely.
So everything's possible. The portal that Clovis Bray used it to access the Forge Star. So everything's possible with that portal.
It's very true.
That is such. I really like. I know a lot of people want to go there. I do not want Forge Star. I feel like that story ends with that star like not being maintained the way they've been maintaining it, just because they have to fight us. Because we will not. Because I'm sorry. Like, have we like? I don't think canonically our Guardian has gone anywhere and seen a Vex and didn't just shoot it on sight. Except for the one time we were shooting it, but we couldn't kill it, and then it turned out it was trying to communicate to failsafe.
To throw a little bit of curveball at that, there is a friendly harpy in Europa. I encountered it the other day, just doing something random, where there's a harpy. It's in the Nexus.
It's the captain.
What?
That's supposed to be the same one.
I don't think so.
I think that's supposed to be the same one.
I mean, it could be. Don't get me wrong.
Captain Jacobson on Europa.
Don't get me wrong. It definitely.
How did he get there?
He can just fly.
Oh my God.
He doesn't need.
Oh my God! You're right.
He can just fly. He doesn't need no ship. He's the captain now. He's on his chartered his own course. He's getting out there.
He's faster than my ship. Oh my God.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's been like a couple years he's been making the journey, so I think his ship gets there a little faster.
Oh my.
Yeah, he
had 3
years
Vex
to arrive there.
Well, I mean, that or he went through a Vex gate.
Oh, a Vex gate. Okay.
It
Everything is explained with the Vex gate. We can explain everything in Destiny with a Vex gate and timelines.
I feel like it's so like everyone's like, oh, the story's gonna like they can really do skate in this story. They can be like, oh, by the way, here's also Oryx and everyone else you hate. Again, you just fight them all. You have a Vex gate.
You're going into a different timeline now.
I go. Remember how you did it that one season of The Undying? You kept fighting every version of that mind. Just go. Yeah, you're gonna do that with all your previous enemies. That's how they explain reopening raids. Yeah,
you got to cleanse the other timelines of these enemies and purify them so that the darkness just always loses.
Well, it kind of makes me wonder if we'd get in a situation where we tip things too far.
Too far?
Yeah. Because, like, how many times does the darkness actually win across infinite timelines? And if timelines are infinite, does it really matter who wins? Like, because you never actually have a half of a never-ending stream of things, right?
Correct. If something's infinite, there is no half. All encompassing.
That's deep.
Thank you. Then I just feel like we're being stubborn. A little too crusady for my tastes.
But
so back to Praedyth. Do you guys? I have a question. Do you guys believe that he can become a vendor, a NPC at some place? I don't know, Venus, Vex portals.
So that's a very interesting question. Do I think he could Yes, but I would really wonder where, who is he, and why does he want to stay wherever he's at? Unless he becomes a vendor for as far away from the Vex as he can possibly get, and so now he's your vendor to fight the Cabal at the edge of the system.
Let's put him on the farm. Oh, we have no farming.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What I'm currently leaning towards is that he's kind of our guide as far as the Vault of Glass coming back. He basically sees something or saw something in his experience while in the vault, finds his way out, and basically tells us, yeah, you need to go back in to prevent this future sort of.
I just hope he doesn't have to be on the place where the Vex are. I hope he gets to go back to the tower and sit next to Ikora, sipping some tea.
Sure.
Maybe having some ramen and just existing far, far away from the Vex. And oh my god, I hope she doesn't build another Vex gate right there if that's where he hangs out.
He would freak out. Oh my god, what are you building, woman?
Why would you build that right here? Of all places, why here?
Praedyth grabs a hammer and begins hammering. I have to destroy that! Oh my god!
I really want to take it to the next level, because I really would want Praedyth in that speech to call up all the OSHA violations from when they did it during the season of the Undying. It's you don't even have, he's not tied down to anything, and no railing. What is it? He could just fall. He's not a guardian. What are you even doing here? How did you get this approved?
Oh, I remembered two things about Praedyth. One isn't exactly about Praedyth, but I think it's him. It's an adventure at Nessus that the Vex kidnap Failsafe, and at the end of the mission, she said that she was talking with someone that was trapped with her.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she was talking with him for 10 years.
Oh, that'd be cool if he came out on Nessus.
I was in doubt if she was talking about Osiris, but Osiris wasn't trapped. So I discarded Osiris. So I think, oh my god, could be Praedyth.
I like that.
Praedyth is trapped. And the other thing I remember is that Praedyth saw the Exo Stranger on the many timelines. That's how he designed the Exchanger rifle. That is, I don't remember what piece of lore is that. He saw her through many timelines, and the only thing that remains the same in those very timelines he saw, it was the rifle. And I remember these two pieces from him now. I think it was interesting too.
I actually wonder. So the No Time to Explain that we have now is not the one we received before. We know that Praedyth has met with at least a version of the Stranger, and we know that the Stranger we've interacted with is not from our timeline. So where's our Elsie Bray?
I think that based on the Clovis diary and Clovis logbook and the secret that Raid Secrets uncovered, I think it was last week.
The end of
the end of the book. I think that our Elsie Bray is dead. I don't remember. I think
that's kind of where I'm leaning as well.
I read about that.
Yeah. I was kind of leaning towards...
Oh my god, spoilers! It's not spoilers. No, it's not spoiler. The blog article it's live on Bungie.net.
Yeah, mysterious logbook.
Yeah.
Yep. So it shows the end of Clovis's journal that we encountered. The first parts within the collector's edition expands on that. So yeah, I tend to agree. Though, let's see, can't.
All right.
I can't remember if there's anything final. Like there's just an absolute death of Elsie or the Exo Stranger, however you want to point. But yeah.
There is a conversation, Clovis, with Sundarash.
Yes.
Let me find. He says,
the one in the middle.
I had the strength to kill my own granddaughter. I will certainly have no trouble killing you.
Well, he blows up her ship as she's coming to basically either disable the portal to the Forge Star or to somehow destroy the Forge Star. But it's I kind of get the impression that he intended to bring her back again, though I'm a little bit fuzzier there. Because he still had the copy of her memory before she went to talk to her sister, before Elsie went to talk to her sisters. And basically Elsie finds out that Clovis is using the darkness and Vex mind fluid in order to create Exos. So Elsie gets upset about that. Elsie gets on a ship with some sort of neontic weapon, is what it's referred in order to either destroy the Forge Star or destroy the... and basically Clovis shoots her down. That's kind of my synopsis of that.
That's correct.
Well, I guess that would be like real Elsie, but that doesn't... I guess I was thinking... I guess along the lines of what you were thinking, since they had sort of gotten a much better level of the mind recording, like not our real Elsie, our potential like stranger, if that makes sense.
Sure, makes sense to me.
Because if he has the copy of her, he could still try to do the procedure multiple times.
It's possible. Everyone is waiting for a Cade's copy. Oh my God! Please stop. Please, no, I don't want Cade's copy because Cade won't be our friend.
Exactly.
I
want him to come out and be a jerk.
Hey, who are you? I never saw you.
I want him to come out. I want him to be kind of a jerk, and I want him to not be our friend, so everyone really regrets the decision to beg Bungie to bring him back.
Right?
To bring back Cade 7.
Yeah. Now I want that. I want that now. That explanation. I want that. Please give me that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for a fantastic point of conflict with our just seeing a familiar face that is now our enemy, sort of thing. Either via Cade or via just any past acquaintances that essentially turn to the dark side thought process. Those type of story arcs can be very, very compelling. So I look forward to anything like that.
Yeah. Same. And I love that from like the bad guy's perspective. They're like, no, fuck you. I have no food. Fuck you. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. You're not a friend. I don't know you either. And especially with the potential Cade spin up, that it's not only has like nothing to do with us, but like it's probably going to be a much darker version of Cade than what we ran into. Exactly. Just because that's full on like operator Cade. Yeah.
Let's put him as a raid boss.
We can just hook his brain up to the Commodore.
I could see him as like the boss preceding. I mean, if it actually is like Clovis, that's the raid boss. I'm not arguing that that's likely at this point. But if it were Clovis as the final raid boss, Cade as an intermediary raid boss would be very, very good. I could completely buy into that.
Mind blowing.
Cade is a mid boss who actually like talks a big game but kind of sucks at his job.
Right? But yeah. So I guess that kind of leads us back to Praedyth, and I guess we want to break for a quick commercial, Taylor.
Oh yeah, let's break for a quick commercial.
Since the dawn of time, there have been storytellers who teach through their stories. These myths give rise to fundamental truths, and these truths shape our collective experience. Yet these myths are not something of the past, and today they engage us more fully in the story itself. Video games allow us to live the lives of our favorite myths. My name is BlueCrew86, host of Focus Fire Chat, and I want to invite you to explore our modern-day myths with us. Join with us as we explore the stories, the mythologies of the Destiny franchise, as well as other games. Let's explore together.
And now we're back from outer space. Just tuned in to find you here with that said look upon my face. But so for me, guys, one thing I have to keep in mind with Praedyth is, as we've agreed that a lot of our interactions to get Saint out of the Vex Network took place out of the Vex Network to actually change his future, you know? Because our interactions with Praedyth have been completely in the Vex Network, even if we get one Praedyth out, does that mean that we get him out, or is he like still infinitely in there?
Oh my god, stop doing that.
I would tend to believe that the rest of the copies would still be in there, dead or alive.
That's it though. They're not copies.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, I guess alternative Praedyths, because essentially they're alternative timeline Praedyths. Copies is the incorrect word to use. You are correct. It feels like if one escapes, the rest would still have to remain, but due to the properties of the vault, if one escapes the confluence of time, do all escape the confluence of time? That's an excellent question that I doubt we'll get the answer to.
well, I will submit this. I'm sorry.
No,
go for it. You go for it. You're my guest.
Okay. I have a different approach of that. I think that if one Praedyth leaves, it's a new state. It's a state that doesn't exist in any timeline. We don't have a free Praedyth, and if this happens, it will break the loop, break the cycle, the circle. And I think that if one leaves, all the others leave too. Because we have the dead Praedyth, trapped the Praedyth, but we don't have a free Praedyth. I'm being clear.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I am. I think I'm hearing you, because I think that's how I tend to agree. So with Praedyth, I think when we take him out, because they can't. I think what they're actually doing is how they've created multiple timelines for Praedyth is because he's trapped in there. They're just going back to a point within the vault that they already had him trapped, and then making him live that life, because they can't simulate him. So it's like the next best thing. You just make this one guy just keep doing stuff then until you effectively could simulate him. I think that's part of why they're running him through the ringer like that.
Sure.
Okay.
And so if he's removed from that loop, they can't simulate him again. They can't trap him. You know what I mean? Like they have to get him back in there somehow. And I'm very, very much inclined to agree. Yeah, it'll break the cycle.
That's entirely fair.
Now the Ishtar Collective, not so lucky.
Yeah, those copies exist, just out in the Vex Network.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Once they went inside the Vex Network, they were essentially condemning themselves to one form or another, being trapped in there for eternity, essentially being tortured. Well, I guess not always, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enough times that it matters.
I understand.
Yeah. That's some free range truth for you right there.
Yeah, copies are the better word for the Ishtar Collective because there are a limited set of those. They aren't. It's not like Praedyth where the Vex aren't simulating them. The Vex actively, or a Vex unit actively simulate those individuals from the collective and create. Essentially, those copies were created as a result of that. Is how I always interpreted that. So copies is a better word in the sense of the collective team members.
Oh yeah, 100%. Those are simulation copies that went back in the Vex Network after they were rescued from it.
And in fact, one of those copies pops up in the latter part of Clovis's journal, and that's basically what infects Clovis. Is a copy of Dr. Sundaresh, who's been twisted by, or I don't know if twisted by the Vex is the right word, but essentially she was, her purpose became to serve the Vex's goal. So it's entirely different than the traditional Sundaresh that we know of from the collective team.
She became a Terminator.
Yeah.
Well, here's one then. Is it a Sundaresh from the 227 copies that went in and like from as we know now, one of the like captured or you like don't know what happened to them copies? Or is it a new? Well, is it one of those or is it like a new one?
If I remember well, I think that Clovis stole the Vex from the Ishtar Collective. I don't remember where I saw that.
That's a fair
There is
point.
a Vex that I don't know if you guys remember. Ishtar Collective was doing experiments with a Vex, and the Vex made these simulations from them. The same simulations that are in the Aspect lore book. So
exactly.
that Vex, I think that Clovis stole that Vex. I don't remember where I read that, and used that Vex to do his first researches with the radiolaria and etc. And I think that this particular Vex had this one of those simulations that became the Terminator Sundaresh.
Yeah,
when he mixed it up and made his exobody and radiolaria, his synthetic radiolaria, etc. I don't remember well where I read that about the Clovis stealing the Vex body from Ishtar Collective.
That was in the first part of the Clovis
journal. Yeah.
And I just found...
Okay.
Yeah. I just found the section on Sundaresh, how basically Vex turned her. And so I'm just going to read that. It's better than trying to explain it. Something like this happened to me. I was an explorer once, one of hundreds of myself. Then I fell into a trap, I think. And they drew me out with a hook, and turned me inside out to see how I worked. And then they made billions of me. All of us shouting at each other, shouting for Shioma, screaming for Mother. They were looking for the right one. And then they found me. They killed all of the others. I knew I was different, because the quiet made me happy. I was glad to be alone. So that's a direct quote from the Sunderush that is in the Clovis journals. So basically, one of the 200 plus copies of Sunderush fell into a trap. The Vex copied her after experimenting on her, and basically found the one they were looking for that they could manipulate into acting on the Vex's behalf. She essentially became part of the Vex collective.
That sounds like some 7 of 9 stuff,
right?
From Star Trek, but that also makes me feel so bad for this Sunderush, because I guess like her group didn't have Admiral Akbar to know when it was a trap.
Oh my god.
Like so many of the surviving ones did. I don't know if you guys knew that. No, that's not canon. That's not anything that actually happened ever. Every good group needs an Admiral Akbar. He's a military genius.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you guys always no, let me do that again.
Yeah.
I have a question about Pahanin.
Okay.
How the hell he left the vault?
I am a firm believer that he was only able to leave the vault. I think the Vault of Glass is where he found super good advice. And I think that's the only way he was able to escape the simulations, was by essentially having a pretty high-powered AI to help him through and see through it.
It's entirely possible. Yeah, we kind of dissected this a little bit, quite a long time ago, and I'm trying to remember when I came.
Well, maybe even if that's not where he found it, that's how he got out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does make sense that having an AI assistant for getting out of the vault would certainly be a huge boon for Pahanin. But otherwise, how else would he have gotten out of the vault? Basically, he's a hunter, so he's the best. So clearly, that's what the case is.
He could actually.
Here we go.
Even though they came at him real hard, he could actually way out. He was able to jump through Kabir's path the easiest with his triple jump.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, seriously,
this theory it's interesting about the super good advice, because Praedyth mentions that Pahanin was talking to himself sometimes, and he could be talking with the weapon.
It's very true.
That's what I think.
But Praedyth wasn't aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. I never thought about this.
So another thing to consider with that one is, I believe it's in the super good advice lore card, or maybe one of the later mentions, Pahanin. Which, speaking of Praedyth, I'm going with in the English version, that's how Praedyth pronounces his name. So I'm keeping it. They're all correct though. I have no clue how I'm supposed to say it. But he's afraid to not have the gun with him.
It's true.
After he comes out, and I think that has to do. I think that's a reflection of how real the Vex Network can be when you're trapped inside of it. And two, I think that speaks to the utility of the super good advice, being able to get you out of there. I think it is a powerful enough AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's entirely fair.
And what about Kabir?
He drank the milk, yo.
Yeah,
he drank the milk.
Why he drank that?
Maybe he wanted to become an exo. No one ever talks about that part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear that Asher did not want to become an exo. But just saying, maybe Kabir was like, what if I became one of them robot guys? Then I could get out of here. I'm pretty sure I need to drink this. Here we go. Let's do this. I had to use. I always feel so bad for Kabir because he sacrifices his ghost to make the Aegis shield, and he can't. If he had like if Pahanin had stuck around, they might have been able to 2-man it. Because then you would have had a buddy to shoot while he held the shield. Right. You can't just have the shield by yourself. You can't do anything.
Well, they didn't have a warlock though. No self-res means they couldn't counter.
Yeah, I'm guessing Pahanin is not a Praxic. Well, yeah, of course he's not a Praxic warlock. He's too willing to work with others. Is how I see it. But
it's interesting. The last Kabir last phrase is, if I'm remembering well, it says, "If I speak again, I'm not Kabir anymore.
I'm one of them," or something like that. Yeah, that's
So what he was waiting, what he was expecting.
I think
to become a Vex, to enter the Vex Network.
I think he essentially needed to, in order to find create a wound in the Vault of Time, which is what he did in the creation of the Aegis. I think in order to do that, he realized he needed to essentially assimilate part of the Vex into him. Consuming them would be the simplest way to do so, presumably. Yeah. And so that allowed him the ability to see enough into the vault so that he could pour his light into the Aegis and create that.
I would have done a purified distillation drip.
That's right. Much more safe.
Yeah, much safer. Would have got because that had to be the saltiest milk he ever drank.
Yeah.
Just so. Can you imagine? I'm trying to imagine salty milk, and I'm getting sick. That actually sounds terrible. And I know people are like, "No, he just said it tasted like the sea." Like, I don't think. I don't know.
Thicker than that.
Yeah, I think it's at least a little chunkier, right? At least a little, like, that is some pulpy seawater you're drinking. I hope you like to chew your sea. Oh, jeez. That's right. Guys, I think I'm ready to
round it out.
To take it into some final scores. So sorry, Mr. TheVanguard. We do a final scoring system that literally has no scale and has whatever units you want it to be, where we'll talk about how
interesting
plausible something is, or how much we think like it won't happen or implausible it is. And so I can go first as an example. For me, I give this one 121 gigawatts. Which, if you're a time travel fan, Back to the Future.
Yeah, I give it the reference.
Well, I meant for our fans, not you, sir. Sorry. I could tell by the way you carry yourself in Vex or Spinfoil that you were probably
oh my god,
a great fan.
Probably.
Back to the Future. But yeah. So 121 gigawatts of plausibility. Just completely. I think, the only way that I would say this doesn't work at this point is that they have to write something specifically to say that that's wrong. In my view, this has total plausibility from my perspective. So yeah, do you want to take it? Do you want to give it a stab, or do you want to have Bagels go first so you can potentially one up him if you so choose?
Bagels first.
Okay. Nice.
I feel like around 81 plausibility seems appropriate. I think it's very plausible that that Praedyth is simultaneously is existing in all. And my biggest cause of concern there is if we find out that the Vault of Glass or Vex how the Vex actually time travel works than we think. Specifically, if the Vault of Glass isn't specifically like a congruence of all timelines overlapping on one another in a single spot, then it kind of blows a hole into that theory. Whereas Praedyth probably wouldn't be overlapping himself quite like that. I don't know exactly how they would reveal that it works alternatively, but that's probably my biggest theory, because otherwise it makes a lot of sense that if the vault is a confluence of time and we've got multiple Praedyths existing simultaneously, probably all doing different things at the same time and trying to escape, trying to survive, all different aspects of what escaped prisoner or a prisoner would be attempting to do to try to escape. So yeah,
I can dig it.
Okay.
How about you, my good sir?
I give let me see, 227.97 Terminator Sundaresh. And I find the theory totally plausible, and I can agree with both of you guys with your points, but I really don't want that this theory becomes true only to Bungie put Praedyth in the game to kill him when he gets out of his prison. Please don't do that. Please, Bungie, don't do that. If anyone from Bungie are listening to that, don't do that. Please don't kill Praedyth. I really want to take him to the tower so he can see the Traveler again. It's a one of his wishes. He wants to see the Traveler again. So let's us do this.
What if he's been gone so long that the Traveler, even though it's been healed, is more beat up than when he last saw it? And he'll be like, "What happened to the bottom? Did you guys shoot the bottom? What happened to the bottom?" How does that
oh my God, what have you done to the Traveler? Oh my God.
And we're like, you should have been here a few weeks ago. It's really
you someone at the time, he hadn't the season pass.
Yeah. He's new light. He doesn't know.
He's a new light, huh?
He hasn't been here since the alpha. It's the last time he played.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's the most Terminator Sundaresh anyone has ever given any score.
I think it's entirely fair.
I think it's a good number. I just picked the number from the Volitive lore from Aspect lore book.
Sure. I love it. I love it. That's amazing. So, and I think that's also the number of copies. 227.
Yeah.
Original Ishtar copies. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But instead of those guys, it's all Terminator Sundareshes. I just imagine, however we fight Terminator Sundaresh, I hope it's something stupid like this super like Terminator like T-1000 like amazing body, but it's just like a TV for a head and like her face.
Jeez Louise.
Just like on the TV screen, just like making stupid faces at us, like sticking her tongue out and being like, "Yeah, you're an idiot."
With the body of that heavy frame from Rasputin.
Yes,
would be nice.
yes, but like television for a head, Maya Sundaresh face on the screen at all times. That would make me happy.
Or she could be a brig with a television at his belly.
Oh, what about the giant brig, the Commodore, the big one that you fight?
Oh my
God. She's just angry. Like, why don't I have a neck in this body? Smash. That's how I imagine it going down. Oh man, well, awesome. So thank you so much. As we wind down here, for being on the show. For anyone who might not have run into you before listening to you on our show, like where might they know you from, and where can they find you?
Bom. Well, I like to use Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but Twitter is my home. It's where I chat. It's where I like to talk about the theories, about the lore, about Destiny in general, and my handle is TheVanguardBR from Brazil, and that's it.
That's it. He's being very, very humble right now. He is a big streamer. He started the first Brazilian sort of like lore log database, and he was one of the content creators that Bungie invited to the big powwow with the likes of my name is Bife and Datto and I'm sure plenty of names that you're familiar with. So like he's selling himself very short. And I can't sing your praises enough, sir. Like you stream too, right?
Yeah. I like to do streams 3 days a week. And my handle is pretty much the same on every media I'm on. TheVanguardBR on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and I believe that that's it.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any shout outs that you would like to shout out?
I would like to shout out, first of all, you guys for calling me here. It's an honor to be here. It's my first English podcast. My English is terrible. I know. It's not my mother language, and no, I know that I didn't.
You
but
really did.
I've done. I did my best. I hope that you guys understand everything I said, and I'm sorry about my accent, my English.
Dopey. No need to apologize. You were fantastic.
You speak English so well. Please take it from the Native American speaker, not native period American speaker, not Native American speaker. I'm not, but like the native English speaker, like you do a fantastic job. You come across very clearly and eloquently, and I really did. You should have way more confidence in yourself.
Seconded fully.
Oh, yeah. Thank for those words, man. I would like to shout out my community in Brazil. I think that some of them gonna listen. They were asking me about the podcast. I talked about it on my stream that you guys invited me. So expect some audience from Brazil.
Oh, and dude!
Shout out to them. They are very loyal fans, a very happy fan base, and they like to engage in different medias, in different languages. And awesome. I would like to shout out Bungie for this amazing expansion Beyond Light. It seems that we are playing a new game, but it's still Destiny. You can see Destiny there, but it's better. And to all, and let's shout out to all Destiny fans around the world that just like to play, just like to listen to some lore, just like to debate some lore, and like us. And that's it.
I want to mirror that so much on behalf of myself and the show. Really, so kind of you to think of us. And earlier when we were speaking before the podcast to compare us to so many accomplished people in the lore community, like I said, then I don't know if we've earned that yet, but we're working on it, and very, very honored to be thought of. To any of to any of Edson's fans who are listening to us for the first time, welcome, guys. We really appreciate you giving us a listen. Engage us however you want. We'll do our best to bridge whatever gaps we have to. We love having you here. So thanks for dropping in. Definitely want to give a big welcome to anyone that we have here by way of your streams, and out of curiosity, that means a lot to us. Thank you so much for sending them our way.
That's been my pleasure.
Yeah. I would like to give a shout out to number one, our guest. Like, thank you so much again. Not to be a broken record about it, but I really loved having you here. We'll definitely be inviting you back. So be prepared, be excited.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to in our country, we're having a lot of spikes right now. Over the last few weeks, since the election and all the various like rallies and demonstrations that came along with that. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone. And I haven't done this before. I want to give a shout out to all of our healthcare workers out there who are working at beyond capacity, beyond what they were ever signing up for, I think, in their head, and doing it I think in by and large part, not thanklessly, but not getting the amount of thanks that they deserve. So I'm just going to send my whole heart out that way right now. While we especially as things get colder here, we are while dealing with that, also worrying about how we can house some of our less fortunate, and there's worries about creating like spread pockets through shelter, and it's just a big concern right now. So shout out to everyone working through and working on that too, and trying to keep everyone safe through the winter. Bagels,
I want to echo pretty much everything you said. Thank you, especially to our guests, because you've been fantastic. Concerns about your English are completely unwarranted. You have been fantastic today. So, I also wanted to give a shout out to Bungie for the fantastic lore drops. Just read through Immolent yesterday, and I'm looking forward to the second part of that, because I'm sure there's going to be more on that coming, based on the fact that this is part 1.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And then another shout out to the Clannies, Tommy's Ghosts, and the
Nice.
Tech Jet. Just on the basis, launch night, we had like 10 or 12 of us just in call all together, and it was a madhouse. It was fantastic.
And the ghosts have grown. The ghosts have grown since then. I think we're like at least twice our number.
Yeah.
Which I won't say how big we are, because it's a secret. You never know how many of us there are.
We've been growing over the past week, and it's been fantastic hanging out with everybody, and I look forward to more with you guys. And that's my shout out.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
You can find the show here on Twitter at Spinfoil Theory. If you would like to write into us, you can email us spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. If you want to at me on Twitter personally, you can find me at thisisredleader, LITRE, and that's all one word. And honestly, you can add us in any three of those if you have any theories that you've come up with. If you have any theories that maybe we haven't talked about yet, and you are curious as to what our thoughts are, we will respond in some way. We promise. Usually it'll be via recording or email or both. But we promise we will get to you. It's not like we're doing this. That's a large part of why we're doing this. So we just want to put out there, like, you will be read, you will be responded to, you will be engaged, because we really appreciate you taking the time.
A big part of this is the open format. And everybody to feel included. Yeah,
we actually Bagels. Was it episode after this one? We'll have one to read. We just got another one from Nadar. Yeah. So that we have a pretty sweet one. I'm not gonna give it away. I'm gonna leave the mystery hat on that for now. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have fun talking about that one with you. But yeah. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you for tuning in, and stay safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 That's the end of this week's topic, but be sure to check out our past and future episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. If you have any questions about this week's topic, want to discuss Destiny lore with us, or if you just feel like reaching out to us, you can find us on Twitter at Spinfoil Theory, or you can email us via spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
The Lore Network.